Sometimes what feels like betrayal is redirection. Sometimes what feels like loss is protection. When doors close, it's not because God forgot you. It's because He's building one only you can open. This is the story of Raghav, a gardener's son whose world was taken from him, so that he could find the one God had prepared all along. But first, subscribe to this channel and watch the story unfold. Raghav grew up surrounded by soil, flowers, and love. His father, a humble gardener, was known across the town for his truthfulness. People said, if he plants something, even the heavens bless it. Every bloom in their garden was a lesson in patience, faith, and care. But time, like seasons, always changes. His father's health began to fade. The man who once worked under the sun now sat quietly beneath it, struggling to breathe. One evening, Raghav's father called his brother home. His uncle arrived, worried, sensing the air of farewell in the room. The old man smiled faintly and said, "Take care of Raghav if I'm gone." His uncle nodded, holding his hand, promising silently. Moments later, the father's breathing slowed. His chest rose once, then fell still. Raghav returned with the medicine, only to find his uncle standing quietly, eyes wet, whispering, "He's gone." The garden outside swayed gently in the wind, as if nature itself bowed to the man who had loved it most. Days passed in rituals and silence, and when the ashes settled, his uncle came forward, a folded paper in his hand, his voice steady. "Your father's dying wish," he said, "was that you take the village land and build a home there. This house, he gave to me." The words struck Raghav like thunder. "This house," he whispered. "The garden." His uncle only nodded, avoiding his eyes. People murmured, "He's lying. Don't leave." But Raghav couldn't doubt his father. If this was his father's wish, he would obey it, no matter how much it hurt. He packed a small bag, a few clothes, his father's picture, and a towel. He looked at the garden one last time and walked away. The village land was nothing like home. No trees, no water, only cracked earth and stones. He sat there, holding the photograph to his chest. "Why would you send me here, Papa?" he whispered. As the sun dipped, an old woman appeared, carrying a basket of pancakes. She stopped beside him and said softly, "Eat, son. You can't build dreams on an empty stomach." He took one, his eyes heavy with grief. She smiled. "You look just like your father. Kind eyes, strong spirit. Believe in yourself. You can make this place bloom again." Her words stayed with him long after she left. The next morning, Raghav went to hire laborers. They followed him, but when they saw the barren land, they laughed. "Even God can't grow grass here," one said before walking away. That night, Raghav sat under the stars, exhausted. His hands were empty, but his heart remembered his father's words. "When no one helps, even the soil watches your effort." He stood up, picked up his spade, and began, alone. Days turned into weeks. His palms blistered, his back ached, but he kept going. And then one day, his spade struck something hard beneath the soil. A wooden trunk. He dug it out and opened it carefully. Inside, an old letter. The ink was faded, but the name at the end was clear. It was his grandfather. It read, "To my sons, I know city life will take you far from this land, but my last wish is to see a home built here. This soil holds not just stone, but gold, not beneath it, but within the heart that believes. If you are reading this, you are the one fulfilling my wish." At the bottom of the trunk lay a small pouch of gold coins, and a notebook filled with hand-drawn plans. How to dig canals, plant seeds, and grow a garden even in drought. Raghav's eyes filled with tears. It wasn't his father who sent him away. It was his father's way of fulfilling his own father's dying wish. He hadn't been abandoned. He had been entrusted. Using the gold and the notes, Raghav worked again. He built water channels, planted seeds, and cared for every inch of soil. Seasons passed. Green slowly replaced brown. Butterflies returned, and birds began to sing again. Years later, that barren land became a garden so beautiful that travelers stopped just to rest there. A small house stood beside it, humble but alive. The village called it Raghav's Garden of Faith. And one morning, his uncle came quietly, holding a flower. He placed it near the entrance and said, "Your father would have been proud." Raghav smiled, not with pride, but peace. He looked at the sky and whispered, "Your plan never failed, God. I just couldn't see it before." When everything you love is taken away, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What now?" Because sometimes God has to break your plan, so He can show you His. You may lose people, homes, dreams, but you'll never lose what's meant for you. So if life feels unfair, remember Raghav. He wasn't punished. He was prepared. Because when God takes something from your hands, He's not rejecting you. He's leading you towards something better. When God has a better plan for you, it always begins where your plan ends.